Studio Blue Radio is proud to present Raffa Music Show by Raffaela Madaffari. Check the microphone.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Raffa Music Show here on Studio Blue Radio. I'm Raffy, and with me today I have a very special guest, Bethany Frymark, all the way from Pennsylvania. Hello, Bethany.
Hi, Raffy.
How are you today?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Now, Bethany is a multi-talented musician, multi-instrumental, does it all, and she just happens to be my sister-in-law as well. So that's fun. So, Beth, you've been around music your whole life, basically.
Yeah. So I grew up playing instruments. Everyone in our family pretty much plays something or has at one point in time or another. I grew up kind of going back and forth playing piano here and there. I played flute and pretty much all the woodwinds except for bassoon. And then more as an adult, I've kind of switched into guitar, ukulele, mandolin. I just got a violin, so that's a little bit new, but kind of switched to the string instruments, still play some piano here and there.
Very cool. Now, how old were you when you first started, like, just playing music, like taking lessons, I guess you can say?
So my mom plays piano, and we had all taken lessons from her when we were pretty young. I think I started playing flute when I was, 9. Mm-hmm. So I think I started taking lessons kind of around that time, and kind of all up through high school. Nice.
Now, what made you choose the flute to start off with?
I was 9. Flutes. There really wasn't a whole lot of a thought process there, or at least if there was, I don't remember it. But
it makes sense.
Yeah, I think when I got a little bit older, I actually started playing more saxophone because of the style of music. I still love flute, don't get me wrong, but right. The first one I kind of feel like I chose myself was saxophone because I kind of liked more of like jazz and playing in jazz band, that sort of music.
Right. How old were you when your mom started kind of giving you lessons?
I don't remember. I was pretty little, I think. I was 9 when I started flute, so and it was several years before that. I don't really have to get her on the show next.
Yeah. Now, and she plays clarinet now. Was she just playing piano back then, or was she already kind of playing multiple instruments?
She played a lot of stuff. I don't remember exactly the specifics of when she picked up this, that, and the other, right. But she grew up playing piano and clarinet, and I think flute. She might have picked that up later, and then as an adult also started playing guitar, and she has been playing violin, which is how I ended up with a violin.
Right.
We all ended up with violins.
How I also ended up with the violin.
I wasn't trying to call you out. I was trying to non-specifically call you out. Yes, so that's kind of how that.
Yeah.
She has been trying to spread her love of violin.
Now, does your dad play any instruments?
No. I know we've joked about starting the Frymark family band, but
right.
Unfortunately, he wouldn't be allowed to participate.
You could be the manager.
Yeah, we'd be good at that.
You also sing. Did you ever take singing lessons, or were you just kind of like singing and then singing in like choir in school and kind of honing your skill that way?
I mostly honed my skills singing by annoying everyone in the car and singing very loudly when all 5 of us were in the car. But I did briefly take singing lessons at some point in high school, not for very long. And I actually was, if I remember correctly, my memory's not fabulous, but I think I was only in chorus a couple years when we moved here, like to this area in Pennsylvania. So I really was much more focused on, I was in band and orchestra. I didn't really actually do a whole lot with the singing, which is kind of funny because I do sing very often to anyone who will listen to me, whether they want to or not. And that's actually what I've gotten paid for doing previously. So, I haven't actually officially done a whole lot as far as training goes there.
Right.
And I've been in musicals and stuff. But.
Yeah. So that's awesome. You had music around your whole childhood. Mine was a little different.
Yes.
We had a piano. I'm sure I've told you this, but like I play a lot by ear. So like I would teach myself songs on the piano. I did take piano lessons very briefly, and I was asked not to come back.
What?
Well, I was a child. I was hyper. I didn't want to sit still, you know.
I could see you being hyper as a child. Yes, that rings true to me.
I didn't have the attention span for lessons, and I still don't now. Nobody in my family played any instruments. Nobody did anything creative, really. I'm kind of the only one who did singing and stuff like that. What kind of music did you tend to enjoy kind of growing up? And do you think that it influenced your preferences in music today?
I have always had pretty eclectic tastes. There's some stuff that I'm not super partial to, but I do listen to a pretty broad range of classical and blues and kind of older folk into some like older country, not so much the modern country, but
right.
Older country and bluegrass and metal and hard rock. So I've kind of always listened to a lot of stuff, which has certainly made my playing music really a weird collection of things, because I'll go from playing like this lovely traditional Irish tune to playing Feed My Frankenstein. So I like to kind of jump around a lot. So I don't know, and I feel like I don't really think a whole lot about genre.
Right.
And I feel like there's been a lot of times where people ask like, oh, what type of music do you like? And I'm like, oh, I'm really into this band recently. And they're kind of in this genre. And they're like, oh, aren't they some sort of really specific subsection of that genre? And I'm like, oh, I guess. I don't know. So I don't really spend a whole lot of time thinking about it, I guess.
Right.
But I have a question for you.
Hey.
Because again, I kind of fell into I just happened to be born into a musical family and grew up playing instruments and kind of just continued with it. Because that wasn't the environment that you grew up around, what inspired you to start singing and have such a strong interest in music?
Well, I was born a performer.
No. Yeah, I can see that.
It kind of just made sense. So I would sing a lot in the car. I remember being really young and listening to Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons, and I would love the song Sherry every time it would come on. And so I would sing that, and then I'm told the first song I ever sang in its entirety was Stand By Your Man by Tammy Wynette. And which is weird because I hate country music, but I don't consider the old country music to be the modern country music that I hate.
I think a lot of modern country music is really blended with kind of more pop music now, which is that's not necessarily what I tend to lean towards. So I would I'm not going to say that there's not country music today, modern country music that I like, because there is some, but I think a lot of the stuff that tends to be very popular not that I listen to the radio, but the stuff that's on the radio. Yeah. But yeah, that old country stuff was good stuff.
And then I guess for me, my parents were always looking for something for me to do. So I did the piano lessons, and I also did karate, both of which I was kicked out of. The two things that require patience, they were just like, no, we can't teach this one patience. But I really did love singing. I wanted to be a singer. And I remember in like elementary school enjoying the music classes, but I try to think of like what I was listening to at the time, and I really can't remember, but I do know that like I was really into soundtracks for like the majority of my childhood.
Listened to a lot of musicals.
Yeah. So, and because I was so close to the city, like we went to see Broadway shows a lot. So like I would have the discs of like what I would be, what we would see. But, and then I was in choir in middle school and high school. And when I was in high school, that's when I started getting really serious about singing. I was in, we had this thing called NYSSMA, and NYSSMA stands for, it's the New York State School Music Association. And the way that it works is that your music teacher will pick out, some students that they feel could compete. So you pick a song, and I can't remember what my song the second year was. I think he made me sing an opera song my first year. So you go to like a separate location, like a school, and you go into a classroom, and there's like a judge there, and you sing for them, and then they score you. And then depending on your score, you either get to sing with like a big production thing. So for example, I got a good score my freshman year. So then after that was in a concert with the New York State women's choir.
Oh, cool.
So that was kind of like my first real music performance, like other than like school choir. I was also doing dance at this time, and that was like 3 nights a week, and that took up a lot of time. So, but growing up for me, like I said, I listened to a lot of soundtracks and like classical music, and then it wasn't until like senior year of high school, like junior, senior year, that I started listening to like rock, punk. I never thought about learning to play an instrument because for me, like singing was kind of it.